In this video, I'm going to show you how to change out this ambient light sensor on this 2006 Chevy Silverado. The light sensor tells the vehicle when to switch between using the daytime driving lights and the nighttime driving lights. Right now, even though it's broad daylight out, my nighttime driving lights are on. That shows there's a problem with that sensor. Since we're going to be working right alongside the passenger airbag and also on the electrical system, the first thing that we're going to do is disconnect the battery. Next, we're going to want to remove this frame that goes around the displays and the controls. First thing that you want to do is set the park brake, then turn the key on and put the gear shift lever down as far as it'll go. And then drop the steering wheel down as far as it'll go. Then just start lifting around the edge of the frame and it'll pop right off. Then you can just lift it right off of there. Now we'll remove this air register. And this one too. We'll take the end panels off each end. There's 2 screws on each end that we'll have to take out. Now we're going to take out 5 of these screws. Each one of these uses a 7mm socket. We'll also take out a screw from each of the 2 air register holes. Now we're going to need to remove this handle on the passenger side. There's a release button on each end of the handle. Just look up into the hole where the air register was, and you can see a white button up here. Push on that button and pull back on that end of the handle and it'll come loose. You can see this one is loose now. If you look up inside the other air register hole at the other end of the handle, you'll see a white button up here. Push down on that one. You'll probably need a screwdriver when you do it, and pull back on the handle. It'll come out. Okay, now we'll need to take the trim off that goes along the edge of the windshield here. I think this is called the pillar. You'll need to push this over that way. And there's only one pin holding it in there, and it should come right out. You can see where it's held in at. Now you might not be able to remove this until you actually start to lift the top of the dash off. We'll do the same thing on the driver's side end. There's a pin right about here that's going up in this direction. So just grab this and pull back towards you right about here, and it should come out. Now same thing, you might not be able to remove that entirely until you start to lift the dash off. That's because they're interlocked. Okay, now starting on the passenger side, if you grab the dash, you'll need to pull back. There's an interlock right here that keeps it from lifting up. So you need to pull straight back, and then it starts to come loose. There you go. Then you can pull this side panel off, the one that went along the window. And now we should be able to do that with the driver's side. There you go. So the entire dash top should be loose now. So you should be able to just pick up on it. And if you look back in there, you can see those wires that are going right to the light sensor. That's what we need to take off. So you should just be able to grab that and then turn it from this side, turn it counterclockwise, and that'll pull right out. Now if you want, you can just take that entire dash top right off of there and move it out of the way. To disconnect the sensor, just pull up on this piece of plastic right here. You can see that little interlock right in the middle of it. Just pick it up higher than that, and then you can pull that connector right out. Okay, the old one came right off. So now we'll hook the new one up, and then we'll put the dash top back on. As you're putting the dash top back on, something to watch out for is right where these little pieces of metal are. There's 6 of them, and each one of those have a spot on the underside of the dash that they go into. So you may need to push down in those areas as you slide it back into place, just to make sure that they get interlocked properly. The dash top is back on in place. So now I'll just put all the parts and screws back on, basically in the reverse order that I took them off. The dash is back together, so now we'll hook the battery up. Okay, the truck is turned on. It's in park. I just don't have it running, but evidently there's enough daylight to where the daytime headlights would be on right now if it was in gear. So I'll go ahead and cover up the daylight sensor, and then we'll see if the nighttime lights come on. Alright, the sensor's covered now, so we'll see if the nighttime lights come on. There they are. Perfect.